I'm 40 and I wasted my life. I've got nothing to show for it. No house, no savings, no career that I'm proud of. I'm pouring everything that I have into this channel because I've got nothing else. And if you're in your 20s or even your early 30s and you think you've got time, I'm telling you right now, you don't. I wish I had someone in my life when I was younger, someone who actually cared enough about me and was smart enough to show me how life really worked, how women really operated, and what I actually needed to focus on. I didn't have that. I was getting all of my ideas about love and success and women from movies and idiots my own age who didn't know anything at all. So there was no sense of urgency, no perspective, just vibes and dumb plans and this fantasy that everything would somehow work itself out. And it didn't. In my 20s, I thought I was, super deep and cool and, because I had tattoos and, I knew some obscure bands and you know, played drums and I thought being different was a personality. I wasn't building anything real. I was I was just chasing sex and novelty, hooking up with women because I was addicted to the high, not the connection, just the rush. I spent more time crushing on church girls who didn't like me and hanging out at coffee shops and smoking cigarettes, uh, drinking lattes, and going to hardcore shows. I did more of that than I did doing anything that would help me long term. I mean, at 23, I was playing ding dong ditch with my friends.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? There's a lot of guys that actually is in this place, and that's why we say that the guys that know, as a 43-year-old man myself, as a guy that knows, and understand that most guys don't even start to get themselves together or come to the realization that they need to make a change if you're smart until your late 20s, early 30s, and then you got the rest of your life to recover. But he is right. You don't want to waste too much time. You want to dedicate yourself more to focusing on a grind and a hustle and a growth that will allow for you to be able to live the life that you want to live for the rest of your life than to focus on women. The women come with it, and you don't want to waste no money or no time on that. And most guys, they don't get that. They're not going to understand that because they don't have anybody to push back against them in their life. The problem also, I'll say this, one of the biggest problems in the culture is that, and I'm talking about American culture, it's not black culture, white culture. A lot of guys are going through the same thing. One of the biggest problems with the culture is that it's also difficult to reach these young guys. I think one of the problems is that you got to have a lot or you got to be overly successful. But at the same time, once they caught up in whatever it is that they doing, they lust, they mindset or whatever, and I don't know if they think that they're going to live forever or that they're going to start to figure it out from a financial perspective later, you have to pour more into yourself, and you pouring into yourself, which I say be selfish before you can be selfless, because you can't pour out of an empty cup. You have to be focused on doing the thing that's best for you. Let's get back into what he got to say. I'm reacting to this in real time.
Like I was 13 again, thinking it was hilarious, which it was. But fun times. But I wasted so many hours just trying to get, validation from people who didn't care if I lived or died at the end of the day. I thought my life was meaningful because it looked cool in photos, looked cool on MySpace. But, all I was doing was burning through the most valuable years of my life, the years where I had the most energy, the most flexibility, and the most time to build something meaningful. Nobody told me I was wasting it. Nobody. And when the world sees you drifting, it doesn't intervene. It just keeps feeding you distraction after distraction, lie after lie, while profiting off of your blindness and ignorance. And then fast forward into my late 20s.
But low key, I think I see Fortnite on the TV in the background. So I'm gonna just point that out. You know me. The way that my mind works is that I look at everything. I seen the tattoo sleeve on his arm when he raised it up. He seems like he's a clean cut guy. I'm not sure if he owns his home or not. Can speak really well. I'm also paying attention to his story, but it looks like, and I'm not really sure exactly if that's true or not. It looks like he's in story mode or something, or he's waiting on for Fortnite in the background, and he still got video games playing. So I'm not really sure what to make of this. But let's continue. It's observing. I'm reacting to the content in real time.
Um, you know, then I got into a relationship that wrecked my life. She got pregnant and everything changed. And I love my son. I would never undo that. But that relationship, it was a disaster.
Most guys, regardless of how much they love their kids, and although they know that they can't take it back in real time, if they had the opportunity to do so from the person that they had children with, a lot of these guys, these kids will never ever exist. That's just the honest to God truth.
I did not know how to choose wisely at all. I confused chaos and passion and intensity with love because no one ever taught me the difference. I thought it was normal for things to be dramatic and unpredictable. I thought that meant we were meant to be or something. I don't know. But instead, I don't know what was going on, but instead, I ended up in family court fighting for time with my own son, treated like an intruder and a criminal for wanting to be a father.
This is how supervillains are made. I'm just telling you the truth. This is how supervillains are made through family court laws and toxic relationships.
And then in my 30s, you know, I mean, my 30s weren't the best years of my life. You hear that a lot. Your 30s will be the best years of your life. 30s and 40s. 30s were a nightmare. I was broke. I was depressed. I was isolated, missing my son constantly, and dealing with games and lies and schemes my ex would pull to destroy the bond between me and my son. I wasn't just dealing with grief. I was dealing with a system that didn't care if I disappeared. And yeah, a few times in the midst of all that, tried to date again. I finally started to see what I'd been blind to in my 20s. I was no longer that 27-year-old stuck in a 500 days of summer mindset, falling for manic pixie dream girls, just because they liked the shins too. Now I saw the red flags clearly. Girls with baby rabies, daddy issues, manipulation, all of it. I could spot it instantly. I was like a bloodhound for that kind of thing. It's easy to detect now. That's the part that stings the most. now, now I'm 40. I hate my job. But it's not just that. I'm disillusioned by the world. Once you see how everything really works, how broken it all is, you cannot unsee it. Everything feels fake. The economy is a scam. Inflation is gutting families. People are more isolated than ever before. No one's honest. No one's fulfilled. And there's a deep apathy baked into everything now.
Told you this is how supervillains are made. They don't believe in anything anymore. They're just jaded by the world because the world has kicked their ass the first half of their life.
That's why I'm here. This isn't a content hobby for me. This is me refusing to stay silent. This is me using what I have left to build something real because the clock is ticking. And also, if I die before I can tell my son any of this, before he can know, I mean, he's almost 11, but I want my son to know that his dad didn't just give up, that I fought very hard and went through a lot, and that I bled in silence. That I fought to stay in his life tooth and nail. I fought to to become something that he could be proud of. And I fought against a system that was way bigger than myself, that tried to break me.
Yeah, family court laws truly need to be updated and changed because a lot of guys are basically going through it. Um, and although women have more opportunities than ever and more freedom than they ever had, and we've even had it overcorrected where we had diversity, equity, and inclusion and selecting women just because they was a woman to get the opportunities, the jobs, we failed, and they've advocated against updating family court laws. That's unfortunate. I've never personally went through it, but that's one of the reasons why I'm one of the biggest advocates for it, is because I'm not doing it because I'm jaded. I'm doing it because I know that it's an issue in culture.
And so this channel, Dad Mode and Dark Mode, is part of that fight. It's my record. It's my time capsule, my legacy. It's my proof that I didn't just drift off into silence and was just passive. And I hope one day when he's ready, he'll understand all of this. And so, if you're in your 20s right now and you're listening to this, stop thinking you've got unlimited time. Stop doing it. You don't have unlimited time.
That's a fact. That's probably one of the realest things that he's said. I'm naturally going to always link back to the content creator because it's the right thing to do. But yeah, I think that he was pretty accurate in most of his assessment. The biggest takeaway for me for this that I can emphasize to you guys is that time goes by fast, faster, at least faster than you think it does. And so you got to be very intentional. You got to be very mindful of the people that you keep in your circle, the women that you interact with. It could become a life sentence. And you could be fighting for your kid while at the same time she's probably making a TikTok about how toxic her baby daddy is. Let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Teach Hanley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. I love y'all. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. Peace.